the shooting, we focus. Won't miss, that's culture. Check. Can't break down if we rowling. Won't quit, that's culture. Check. It's a trend, the moment we in motion. Legit, that's culture. Check. Speak loud, no wonder we boatin'. We lit, that's culture.
Check. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of the Culture Check in the building.
What's up?
We're here once again, and today we actually talking about the male black figures that we actually have lost, who were very, inspirational and powerful, influential, and everything.
Who stood for the right things and had positive, results from what they did. And
So,
like, for example, like Kobe and Chadwick and Nipsey.
I think that Chadwick one.
And this is, I know.
But that one hit me hard because, like, no one knew what he was fighting.
Yeah.
That's my thing, and what he was doing.
It's a solemn topic. Like, it's just all of it, from Kobe to Chadwick to all. It's you look at it, you kind of start wondering, like, man, what in the world is happening? Like, why?
All the good black male figures. Like, we still have some good ones out there, but, like,
a lot of good ones.
Specifically, those ones who were actually, like, making a difference. Like, Nipsey was trying to change his neighborhood. Kobe was doing a lot for women's sports and, just in general. And Chadwick was doing a lot of charity work and just, like, doing a lot for the community as well. And it's just, like, we're losing these people who are such a good, role model for young kids. And we don't have that anymore. We do.
Well, yeah.
We're losing them like this, within a year,
And then on top of that, you have to remember. I see what you're saying, bro, too, because remember the age of these younger black men.
True.
And so they are still at that age where they are more than influential, on the younger people. Now, granted, we're becoming the influential characters, but we're really just starting out. So I don't want to say it's like you're not there yet because you haven't gotten things. These guys were established. They were in their 40s, which was that era of going into middle age.
They're young too.
Yeah, they were young.
Yeah, it was a lot of. They were young.
They were becoming the legends in their own right in this time. We're still building, at this age, trying to build that legendary status. So seeing them go, like you said, Brooke, is something kind of like, damn, that early. So it's like who knows what else they were gonna continue doing. So.
I feel like they all weren't done. I mean, which makes it Kobe was just getting his stuff started, so it was Nipsey, and like Chadwick was doing his thing, and like
man just retired. We're talking Kobe Bryant. Man just retired and is about to do all this stuff. We had Mama
Mentality Camp and stuff like that.
The academy and all that stuff, and he had so much stuff he wanted to do. And with that, and because I'm bringing it to Kobe, it's just the fact that God rest his soul, everyone else on the helicopter, but the fact that his daughter, who was trying to continue a legacy when it came to the sports aspect.
The only one that
I was like,
his guidance,
I was
and now
like,
she's gone.
That hit hard. Nipsey, of course, he had a meeting, I think, with the chief of police actually in the area. The next day when he got shot, the next day he actually had a meeting with the chief of police about how to help the community and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
and I told you guys I was going to say this. Additionally, just to add in a side note, you look at the young, even the younger ones that are now losing their lives for different unfortunate reasons. But the King Von situation.
Thank you. I was about to say that. You got Pop Smoke. You got
all these rappers dying.
Yeah.
They all dying.
Now, granted,
killed.
Were there rappers that were killed back then? Yes, but you hate to see it anyway. Just period. You know what I mean? You don't want to see it regardless.
Exactly.
It's just one after another, after another. It's just like it's like not stopping. It's like damn.
Yeah. This is another 2012 thing. This is another 2012 thing. It's just a lot of stuff hit people all at once. Like I don't even know, man.
Not what, like I said, the topic is so it's heavy, but it has to be talked about because you see it can have those effects on the younger people coming up. Because I started realizing I hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'm 30 something years old. I'm an OG." No, you're not. You're 30 something years old. Why? I don't know why. It's becoming a thing in our culture now. If you make it to 30 or 40, man, he the OG. You're barely at middle age. I mean,
you're
it's
young.
just the fact that, like you said, people are just
going
dying
off early.
So
like, and that's got to stop, man. That's got to stop. We want to see people live longer, healthier lives, man. Even if you get to 60, but by no means 30 and 40 should be looking like, man, yeah, you've been out here, bro. You haven't. You have, but you still got a road to go. I believe so. By God's grace, you still got a ways to go with living.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, seeing some of these things, I think is just affecting the psyche of a lot of people. I do.
Even like when you're talking about like just like men saying, "Oh, I'm the OG" and stuff like that. I was watching the Quincy Jones documentary, and he like said something that was kind of like, damn. He was like, you have to dream big enough to where you don't even have an ego. So where you dream so big you can't even reach it. Like, I feel like people like think, oh, I have this one little success, I'm good. Like, no, you have to dream big. Like, don't let your ego take over your life and like how you live your life. You know.
And that's what these men were doing.
Yeah.
They kept on going forward and forward, and every time they kept on getting higher and higher into their career or their status or whatever, they always remember to go back into those who helped them, go back to those who they see under them, go back to those who look up to them, and try to give back and help them also get to the same points where they were going.
And that's what's sad about Nipsey and Chad and Kobe, because they represented that giving back and like actually using their platforms for good and to help and to make change and to like inspire people and doing it and doing the right way and not like doing it to like put a negative effect on black men and
seeing what it makes me laugh because some of not what we're talking about here, the representation of black men kind of it makes me laugh looking at how it's been going. Because I look at somebody like Bill Cosby. Despite his more so present circumstance,
right?
You look at how he successfully attempted to portray black youth,
right.
Not just black men, but black women and black families. So you look at somebody like that, and you try and look at these other role models who try and portray us in those positive manners, as opposed to the stereotypical type that they put out there.
Right.
So it makes you wonder, like, why do we always have that struggle when it comes to representation? I feel like it doesn't happen in other communities in America. I just feel like we always have that struggle.
Ego.
Well, that's one. Education. I would say
yes,
that's a big one, because it's like you said, black men, when they start young, especially, because of course you start young when you start doing anything in life. What do they see usually? You see that TV, but not or anything, and what you see how it portrays movies, shows, entertainment, everything. But that's how at least we had it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say some people are living.
Some people are living, and they live a hard life, and they might grow up and be like, this is all I know, or I want to get out of this. So now it's just a part of the environment. But nowadays they got this thing. Yeah.
Where you can see and get access to a lot more.
Anything.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Anything. So the representation is like, I don't even know. It's just
so
like
big.
It's so big.
It's really
like,
big.
oh, I can just do this. No one's thinking. I remember like the last episode you said we want to get people more involved politically.
Locally, yeah.
It's okay to they want to play sports. They want to do music. That's all fine.
But at some point
we need to also help them to get some, at least some, not even saying they have to be the president of the United States, but like have the mindset to understand, okay, this is what's going on, this is how you do this, and everything like that. And also,
and I do think, and I've heard, we're just going to just dive into it because I just feel like it. This topic is always talked about in regards to black family homes and black family home structures when it comes to having a black father at home or a black mother at home, just a two-parent household. Granted, you do have what they say high numbers in the black community of single-parent households and stuff like that. However, I don't like when people use that as an excuse as to why people are bad. Yeah, it can happen in some cases, but look, there are some bad people who had two people in the household, a mother and father at home.
Right.
So you just can't say, oh, it's based on the single mother house. Yes,
it's a factor.
Yeah, it's a factor. It's
a factor,
important, but that's not the only reason as to why these things are happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I just really do believe those guys like Kobe and them, they gave even guys like me, because we grew up seeing him. It gave you something to aspire to.
It's like Jordan.
Yeah. It gave you just something to look forward to.
And I just pray. Like, I know LeBron is the most dominant player in the NBA, but like
we going here?
But
yeah,
pull the seat up. Go ahead, let's do this.
I just pray that like since Kobe's gone, that he really like. So I feel like LeBron's attitude isn't the best sometimes. Like it wasn't the best. That he's like kind of immature in a way. I feel like I hope he uses this to kind of like take on a more of like a leadership role like Kobe and Jordan. Like he's getting there.
I see where she's trying to go with
but
it.
I'm not talking about his skills. I'm talking about his.
I see what she's trying to go.
His influence
well,
of like how he carries himself.
Yeah. Are you talking about just basketball or because
she's talking about
that man in the community? I ain't gonna lie.
She's talking about personality and in the structure of his mind. I think,
how he plays the game and like the school is great. He's doing great things. I'm not saying that he's not doing great things. I just hope that he continues to. I'm giving him.
She's not taking.
I'm not taking
it.
I'm taking it away from him. I just hope that he continues to like go down this path where it's like all we know LeBron as just what he's doing outside of basketball, and he's actually being a leader and a role model on the court. I feel like he kind of like goofs off. Like he used to goof off. People wouldn't take him like. You have Kobe and Jordan leaders, and you have a LeBron leader.
I see where she's going. I see with the basketball. I see where she's going.
So it's like I hope he like actually like kind of switches over to that leadership role.
He'll tie that in because
he's starting to. I feel like he's starting to realize that like people are looking at him.
They were older than him, and they have a different mindset too. But LeBron is one of those guys. He's the next guy up. Yeah, he's a gregarious. No, he next.
I mean,
up.
like,
you own now.
I mean, like to be at the level of like Kobe and Jordan. He's like, he's
I think he'll. I have no doubts he'll kind of transcend into that.
Yeah, and I feel like
I think so.
More
but I can understand
but I see what
you're saying though.
I hope he continues and he doesn't like. I feel like he has so much responsibility on him now because people looking to him now.
Yeah.
They don't have Kobe anymore. They have Jordan, but they don't have Kobe in the game anymore. Like it's LeBron now.
You saw how
I thought it was gonna be Steph Curry, but he's a little not soft, he's not. He's kind of too like.
If we're talking to influence the image of the NBA after
it'd be LeBron.
It's gonna be after him. It's definitely either gonna be KD or
KD.
Maybe Giannis, maybe.
We'll see.
I don't think KD's. He's not.
What? All right, bro.
Well, I mean,
as a leader, no.
As far as doing stuff
outside
of basketball,
are we talking basketball?
The whole thing, the whole package.
The whole package. Okay, then yeah.
Okay,
you're right. You're okay. Maybe the whole package is different. You got a point.
It's like you have like a Jay-Z and you have a Kanye. Actually, no, a Jay-Z and I'm trying to think of like another like good rapper, and a Drake. Drake is like a KD, and then Jay-Z is more like a LeBron.
What has Drake really done outside?
He's
done stuff.
He's done stuff in the game, but he's not like he's doing stuff probably like, but like he's not. He's his. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying as far as seeing the more outspoken, some of the more outspoken.
Like I wouldn't look to KD to be a leader.
I see what she said. I see
outside like a representation of a black man, like that role that Kobe filled and Jordan filled, like in the game of basketball, like. KD is not. I wouldn't trust him to be.
Now that you bring that up, and I'm sorry to go sideways a little bit, but do you think that the representation or the definition of leadership in our community has changed more so amongst than others? I'm not trying to make it seem like it's just a black thing, but do you think our ideas now of community and organization and togetherness have changed?
I think they have because now the world is more open. More open to people, transgenders, the all different communities, lesbians, bisexuals, all this stuff, the gay. Yeah. So I feel like, and there's a lot of other things out there that would make us we're trying to be more unified with everybody, accepting of everybody. So I think the leadership role kind of has shifted from how it was back then to now. Now you have to have a different mindset and have to go a different route now. Because now you have a more broad audience.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like the leadership manager, because the audience, the world around has changed. So now you got to take a different perspective on being a leader.
Yeah.
And you do have to be really cognizant I feel like of what you say.
Very.
You know what's crazy? I'm not trying to argue this, but like people don't understand when I say this. Like when it comes to leaders, like LeBron and Kobe and Jordan, like they were on one team, got 5 rings with one team, 6 rings with one team. Like LeBron didn't do that with one team.
See, well, yeah, you definitely trying to take it there today.
You're talking about.
So it's like that mentality of that they had with that one team to build something, whether it was a team or like a school, whatever. Like they built something with what they had with one thing.
Well, I'm not trying to get.
That's what I'm saying. I hope like LeBron like takes that Kobe leadership on and just sticks with the Lakers and stays with the Lakers. And
well, yeah, he'll do that until he retires. But
that's what I'm hoping he like actually fulfills that, because I feel like LA needs a black leader. Like we don't have that. Like Nipsey's gone, Kobe's gone, like LeBron.
That is really interesting.
I understand what you're saying, but there are black leaders over there. You got Magic
so I hope he stays there. LeBron, stay there.
Saying.
Don't go anywhere. Stay there.
That's the only thing I heard his legacy in basketball. But that's a different topic. But all I'm saying is this.
Not really. It goes into what we're talking about.
No. I said what I said.
Okay.
What I said was a different topic. Okay. But it's like, going off what you said, like you said LeBron really has that step up role now, being a black figure. Definitely, you are a black figure, man, to do all this good stuff. Who else do we see in any type of entertainment or politics or workforce or anything? We still got Obama.
Yeah.
Obama still, even though, because my thing is, even though he wasn't president, he was always still. You saw this man's face. You saw him speaking all the time. Still,
I feel like Jay-Z's a quiet one.
He's a business.
He's
dude.
making,
he's making behind the scenes.
He makes moves with money.
You don't really know what he's doing, which is like,
now,
little.
If you do watch some of his not Revolt TV, but if you watch some of his other interviews that he's done with other people, I think he's done some like pretty, intense interviews. He actually even kind of says that, like, he's like, oh man, I was more vocal when I was younger. He was like, now it's more so sitting at the table and trying to make things. That's what I'm saying. He's a quiet one. And you always do have to give credit to those who are just like, hey, I'm not gonna be in the camera, but I am gonna try and make sure we get the blocks to move. Like, you know what I mean? Those are important too. Those guys are important too. I just wish they would vocalize more so people understood, like, hey, yeah, you can do it this way too. You can be off the scene and you can still make blocks move. Because I think, this is just me, it don't matter what nobody else think, but, well, it does, but for your own self. But I think the way a lot of people are being taught to move now, as far as being influential, is only to be a voice. It's one thing to say you're going to do something. It's another thing to make your hands do it.
Also, I will say, from kind of switching off of like sports and like music, I feel like for like Chadwick, like for like the black male, we saw Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like
Will always gave me different. I don't know why he gave me a different.
I think because we seen him. The first thing we saw him was he was funny.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Why? But Will.
But
also,
he represents like that.
I guess how we first saw him.
How he is as a dad. Like he's like that representation of like a positive role.
Okay, you want to go there? Of a father.
So how do you feel about the entanglement?
I mean,
I thought you were
that has nothing to do with how he's.
I'm sorry.
That's not his fault though.
That has something to do with him being a father, though.
That left.
Like he's a good representation of like how like a black father should be.
No, that's
a lot of guys are like that.
I'll say that, like him, Dwayne Wade, and the reason why
Dwayne Wade.
Will Smith and Dwayne Wade is the reason why, because, and this is nothing to say anything about anyone's children. I'm not against nothing of that. But you saw how Wade's daughter came out and said like how she, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
defined herself as a woman.
I do.
So I'm being respectful for that.
Yeah,
it's her name. It's her. She's a she. And Will Smith's kids, they do their own thing. It might be, people see it as a little out of the ordinary. Some people think it is.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
They're letting their kids explore who they are.
Yeah,
and it goes with, like I said, the leadership of back then would not equate to, or wouldn't even tolerate. Yeah, they wouldn't be tolerated right here because it's like, okay, you see how they had to go a different route. Their kids want to go this way. They didn't just shame them, like back then probably you would have been shamed and then try to be beaten into a better person differently. They actually will let them go their route and help them still guide while they're still making their own changes. Yeah. So that's why I say, because I was going to ask y'all, who do y'all think we still have then? Like I said, LeBron is the one. I like Wade because of what he's doing with how he's reflecting with his family sense.
Chance.
The rap. Oh yes, absolutely, Chance the Rapper.
Yeah,
even Cole.
I want to say J. Cole, but
low key,
he's off the scene. But
like low key, like with the community, not like actually like doing powerful like things, but like he's like with the community.
Then we do have to think about it because to a greater level of respect, it's. I heard one celebrity say it's truly not their responsibility.
It's not.
It isn't.
It's not.
But what they don't realize when he said that though is he doesn't realize that's why it makes them so much greater in your head, because we realize he don't have to do this, But he did it. Yeah, but he is.
I will say this. Don't judge me when I say this. But honestly, Kanye West, when it comes to progression, he might not be the best person, like, personality-wise, but when it comes to, like, new ideas and progression,
Kanye,
I feel like he's a good influence in that way, where it comes to, like, being progressive and thinking ahead of your time and, like, you know.
Kanye just, man, one thing I definitely have to say, I of course respect the music catalog and whatnot. That boy don't care.
But that's a good thing.
No, I'm not. I didn't.
That's
say
why
it was
he's
a
so
bad
progressive.
thing. That's why I'm saying I respect him, because he's gonna go forward regardless of who's standing in the way.
That's why I love him.
I'm gonna go there, even if it seems different. He's willing to bend and stretch to be like, hey, I'm gonna try it.
If people look behind his bullshit and, like, what he says sometimes, and, like, actually sees, like, what he's doing and, like, what he's actually talking about, he's so progressive and, you know,
he
ahead of his time.
Articulate it well enough.
But, like, he's doing some great things. He's buying with the whole thing with Wyoming. He's, like, buying land. He's, like, you know, building his own big ass community. Like, he's, like, doing something, like, people don't realize because they only see one side of him. But, like, he's a really good figure to look up to in that perspective.
You know,
of progression.
It's funny because I hear so many people. I've actually heard so many different people's opinions on Kanye. I've heard some even say that they feel like he has a cult following.
It seems like that. I mean,
I was like, yo.
But every celebrity does.
To a degree, yeah.
That's very true.
It just makes me laugh.
That's why all y'all have Jordans on your feet. And you all have Kobe Bryant jerseys and all, you know, like,
some of us
LeBron shoes, like, you know what I'm saying, like.
I agree. I personally don't wear the paraphernalia.
I'm just saying, like, people
they want to be like the
claim
person,
to something,
basically. And which is, I mean, you know, when you're looking up some, like I said, growing up, I know Kobe was a guy who I looked up to along with my father, my dad, somebody I definitely looked up to. I was fortunate enough to have him, you know what I mean, in the household and show me things as a man. So actually,
I'm gonna let you finish because I wanted to go on that.
I was gonna say that was my first role model.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Mm-hmm. Actually, seeing him and seeing my dad's response. Of course, Kobe is much younger than him. Seeing his response to people like that or other men that he felt like, oh yeah, these are good guys to look up to. Then you start. That's why I guess it is important to a degree to have people who know who younger people should follow, because sometimes it may not be that adult that's the direct role model to the child, but that adult may be that connect, that passion to be like, hey, you should look over here, young man, because this is where, even if it's not looking at that adult, look over here, these guys, I think you would like them, you should follow them. So I think that's important.
So
but that and that's what I'm glad he said.
So maybe like focus more on like your household figures if you have them, more so than celebrities.
I fully agree.
Yeah,
I fully agree. Because even though if they don't have them, they do tend to go for the celebrities, and they pick the celebrities that are popular.
Yes.
And then they're not really. One, they may not even research enough to see what they do outside of their career, and then two, what they show in the career might be a little something that's okay. So my thing is, when it comes, we're talking about the powerful black men that we lost who made a impact, who everybody knew, but just because if you're in that limelight, doesn't mean that you cannot be impactful as well
to other black.
That's my thing.
Look,
I want to make sure we say that.
I had now that you say that, I had a conversation with one of the deacons at my church. He was one of the first black officers in Dade County. He was telling me about at one point he was telling me about all the figures when I was a kid who were, if you will, to a degree, overlooked during the civil rights era. Mind you, this man's 90-something. He was born in 19-something. I don't know, but you know he's seen a lot.
1920s.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you know he's seen a lot. And he was talking about during the civil rights movement, he was like, I know we always focus on Martin and, of course, you know, Malcolm X. They were, of course, powerful, huge leaders, political, you know, celebrities. However, he was like, all of that was backed up by a deep legwork and groundwork of other people in the community, NAACP chapter leaders and a whole bunch of other people. You look at somebody like Medgar Evers. He was a local community leader where he was at, and his name got big, unfortunately, because of his death. But the fact that he had an impact on his community that big to where people were like, man, this guy didn't have a lot of money. He didn't come from a lot of money either. But willing to make those impacts just because you know it's the right thing to do. There is no reward after it. Mm-hmm. Most of the time for them, it was death. They did it because this has to be the way. This has to be the right way. And I think if some people approached it like that more so than a monetary or fame thing,
try to get something out of it, basically, too.
I feel like different. Back then, men were not. When I say this, I don't want to say this in like the wrong way, but like I feel like men weren't afraid to die for what they believed in. And I feel like when it comes to like MLK and like just like people in the civil rights movement, I feel like black men back then, they stood for something and they didn't care. They went after. I feel like now people are a little bit more cautious with what they say and how they approach things. So it comes off, like.
Well, in this world, like I say, it's
that's
changed.
What we were doing.
You got to be cautious what you say. Now,
that's what I'm saying, and that's the problem. That shift because we
No.
had a lot of strong black, just like locally black men around. We don't have that anymore.
Well, I'll say this also because of that. I feel like it's 2020. We got very comfortable. We really got real comfortable.
Yeah,
we really feel like
no one's fighting.
That you had to die to fight. Because can you imagine us living back in those times where they were going through?
It wouldn't have, Yeah,
you're gonna have
look how we are now. We still get treated as we see, but it's like it's not to the same caliber as that.
And that comes to a place of, to a degree, to a very slight degree of complacency, if you will. Mm-hmm. People in the black community are able to make a certain amount of money, with certain freedoms and things like that. So, I always see people talking about black-owned businesses and stuff like that and supporting them. It's hard saying that when now those same black people who didn't have the freedom to purchase the Gucci and all other stuff, when they have those freedoms to do it, it's going to be hard to pull them back in. We're heavy consumers now in this period as opposed to then. Back then, you wasn't going to no Gucci store. Mm-hmm. Back then, you weren't getting no Prada or no Birkin.
We're not fighting for anything anymore. I feel like
you weren't getting.
We're not fighting for anything anymore in a way,
And their argument would give me something to fight about, and then you'd be like, look at X, Y, and Z, but in their head, well, that ain't affecting me directly.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. If it's not affecting me directly, why should I fight for it?
Why should I care?
And that goes back to like with the whole election thing. When like we're not gonna go back to that, but like white people who vote for Trump, like, oh, I'm good, so I don't care.
Yep.
That's it.
That's not how it should be,
So it's really that's my point. It's just really like point based. I was saying, no matter if you have something you want or you see in the world, because the world's not perfect. Obviously,
at all.
If you see something that needs to be changed and you want to be a part of it, do it, and you choose to do it to your full capability. Mm-hmm. Stay with it, like you said. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Die for it if you want. Well, not literally die for it, but you know what I mean.
You would die, I don't know. I feel like you live to die, so it's like so pick something you want to die for. Anything
that is living on this earth is
so it's like pick something that you're passionate about and just go for it.
Boom.
And I always would say it's based on people's preferences, but you have to really go at it. You really have to examine your own internal intentions about what you're doing, because like I said, you can go out there and hashtag Black Lives Matter and do a whole bunch of other stuff, and you can actually get fame off of that now. Mm-hmm. And you can actually monetize that. You can be a spokesperson.
Yep.
And technically, there's a technical standpoint, you don't have to do shit besides that. You can post it on your social media and just leave it there, and people will, you're an advocate. I didn't do shit besides post what I was seeing on my phone, and now people think I'm a spokesperson for it.
That's the thing.
It can happen that way. It can happen that way.
That's what I'm saying. Us normal people need to start stepping up and being leaders and in
essence, yeah.
We have people to look up to like Kobe and Chad and Nipsey and LeBron and Jay-Z, but like it starts with like what we do in our own lives and like making sure we are leaders for people who don't have access to Kobe or the celebrities,
That's what I think, honestly, that for me, for my own personal growth during 2020 and everything, that's probably what I examined the most for myself, is like, well, how, even outside of voting and the election and whatnot, how do I, as a young man, now start to become a positive representation, because now we all have to say there is people behind us. Mm-hmm. So now, how do I start to create for myself, while I'm still working on myself and trying to find my way, how do I start becoming that mold for somebody, a younger person, to be like, yeah, I like Cameron, I like Miles, I like Brooke, I like following that. You have to, if you're not, like Dame Dad said, if you're not thinking about it like that, then you're kind of selfish.
Yeah, and I feel like even as a black woman, like we're talking about black men, but like for me, like I look at it as like I want to be the woman that like my 10-year-old self would want to be or would want to look up to. Like that's how I see it. And like I realize that I have impact sometimes too on like young girls, so I want to make sure I am doing my best to do my part and be respectful and do the right thing, and you know. So it's all about like your approach and your mindset, like because realizing when you're put in like a position like this, like or whatever, you have to like really like be aware of how you treat people, like how people see you. Like you have to be super aware of how you what you say, how you walk, how you dress. Like be super aware and like make sure you are doing the right thing and impacting people the right way, and you're like aware of what you're doing, and not just doing it just because.
And to touch back on just what some other people say, if you don't want to do that, that is absolutely fine because you are human and you are
just don't complain about it.
Thank you. That's all I was gonna say.
Like, thank you.
That's all I was gonna say, because you can't be somebody. I don't care, bro. I got my bread. I got my money, and then later on, when you hit 40 and you hit 50, and you are not making the kind of money that you were making, and you don't have the looks that you were making, or that you had, and then there's a group of younger people who you feel like, man, they should try and change this.
What did
No. You didn't, when you were their age, you had no interest. Exactly. So don't take interest now. I'm saying to take on that level of accountability, to be that figure, is a responsibility. And you know, when you get up every day, you are wearing that baggage of responsibility. Like, okay, I'm going to be out here. I'm going to have to represent myself in an X, Y, and Z way in order to be a positive effect. That is
if everyone just did that and thought that way, which is not how people do, this world would be so much better. We would be so much more progressive, like, as a country, if people actually thought
for
the way
others.
Of course.
That was the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I can really
think for others instead of being selfish. And I think I'll end it. They all make great points. I'm gonna end it here. I also saying it's like, with that, like you said, us normal people, or we still, who knows what we can get in the future. But it's like, at this point, like me, even at being a black father, is I struggle with trying to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you know, I try to have that image, like you said, all the time. Everywhere you go, you have that bag on you. You got a responsibility. Sometimes I'm still young, I'm 26, so I make mistakes. But it's like, I understand, especially in my son's eyes, I have to walk this way. I have to talk this way because I am the first black man representation that he is
seeing. Yeah.
So it's like he needs to know this is what's going on. So, and there's a lot of other black fathers out there. There's a lot of other black brothers and all.
You're doing the right thing.
Exactly, and that's all it is. It's just do the right thing because you're always being watched.
Yes.
You're always being watched, especially in this country, where they like to downplay the black man.
Yeah.
We're always being watched.
And like I said, and I heard a pastor say, do the right thing. You are being watched. That's a definite reason. But really, when you are doing it just for the right intentions, just because you know it's right, like he said, it makes it that much easier for you to just be able to carry that responsibility, that bag. Because it's like, I know I got to do this just because it's the right thing to do.
And that's why with this year, the ones we lost, the Kobe's, the Chadwicks, the Nipseys, it's the fact that they were gone so young and early to us, but even though they did so much, and we still know, even in their death, they don't want us to quit. They don't want nothing to stop. Kobe's like, keep on pressing, keep working hard. Don't just cry for me.
The marathon continues.
The marathon continues. Nipsey said, Chadwick, I know he don't want the whole cast. Don't stop Black Panther. Black Panther did a whole big history numbers in the world. Don't stop. Keep making keep going. In their death, we still know they are pushing us to still go forward.
And like I said, that comes from an internal thing, man. Like and that's, you know, getting deeper with people talking about death and so on and so forth, transcending and whatnot. Like, whatever you are putting out here in this atmosphere, in this realm, on this earth, while you are alive, trust me, it's feeling it. Everything is feeling it. And that's why I think 2020 was fun.
Telling you, energy is so powerful. Yeah, like, the words you say, it's out there.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It moves.
You know, like,
the
way you move, the way you, like,
the ether.
your essence, your aura, like, it's out there, like, to the world. Oops. So
it's like that. Mm-hmm. But this was a touchy topic, touchy episode.
Deep.
But we have to have uncomfortable conversations. We gotta have doing that.
Yeah. So
with that being said, y'all, I'm Miles.
I'm Brooke.
Cam.
We out, y'all.
What if
you love doing this dumb shit?
Bruh.